Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of the Hockey Happy Hour right here on A2DRadio.com. We are live from the Real Talk Studios right here in Mount Ephraim, New Jersey. Right over here is the Penguin Lover. I'm pretty sure you can tell by now. Michael Klankoff.
Some people can't see.
Some people, but those people are blind. Meanwhile, over here we have the Darkwing, Brian Daly.
Hello.
Behind the board, we have our sign guy, Mr. Ryan Brodo, reporting for duty as always. And we are brought to you by Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. Gentlemen, the Flyers have once again secured another victory. They have defeated the Boston Bruins in overtime. Great feeling. Nothing like winning in OT, too. In Boston, by the way, which doesn't often happen against the Bruins.
Yeah.
It feels good to get a win in Boston, and hopefully we can continue that trend when we face them a little bit later on down the line. Anyway, though, Flyers doing a really good job piecing a 6-game win streak together with their win, including tonight. And coming back from the All-Star break, feeling refreshed and still feeling strong. I mean, they had
the Metro is champions.
Yeah, that's right. We're all winners in the Metropolitan, are we not? The most competitive division in the entire NHL. And actually, since the new format has kicked in, has won the majority of Stanley Cup finals, really, when you think
really
about it, which is kind of weird when you put that into perspective. The Metro has usually had the Cup champion come out of it.
Well, they have the last three.
That is true. Yeah, so there you go. With that being said, though, I'll tell you right now, guys. Hey, listen.
It's weird how that happened.
Isn't it? I just had a cough and my middle finger came up, and it was just in your direction.
Well, it has to be in his direction because my team really hasn't done anything in the playoffs in recent years. So.
Hang on, let me put it away.
Nice.
Right?
But then mine came up.
Hey.
What?
Rigor mortis is setting in on us.
What did I do?
Nothing yet.
No, it's not what you did. It's what they did. But anyway, with that being said,
he did take home the MVP.
a very undeserving MVP, by the way.
Yeah, only 8 points. That's not a lot.
I got
with
nothing.
that being said, though, oh, guys, I can tell you right now, it feels pretty good to come back from an All-Star break where usually you're worried that your team's momentum is just going to get shot right in the head and just not come back to life. The Flyers, basically, they went into the break winning. They come out of the break winning. Wow. That's been the first time in a long time I can actually say that about my team.
Yeah, it's a first, too. I mean, not a first, but, you know what I'm saying? They were going into the All-Star break hot.
Yeah.
And then, it was probably the worst time. They had their bye week and then the All-Star break, and then they have to face Winnipeg first and then Boston.
Yeah.
You could probably chalk those up for 2 easy L's, but it ends up being almost 2 easy wins.
Well, I wouldn't say easy. I mean, the Winnipeg one, it was a little fought for. The Rangers one was probably the toughest one that they've had, although this one in Boston was a pretty close one, very chippy as well. I will say, though, give credit where credit is due, though, the Flyers for being a team that had one of the worst starts in franchise histories that you could possibly imagine. At least in recent years, I can't remember a worse start. Even last year when they went on that long losing streak, they had picked it back up a month later. But even before that, the team just struggled month in and month out, and now it's starting to okay, now things are starting to get a little bit better. Question is, though, is it too little too late? We'll talk a little bit more about that.
The thing is, though, it's the Flyers streaking ride. It's which streak are they on, and right now they're on a hot streak, and, it's usually just how they are. I mean, they if they're going to lose, they're going to lose in a streak. If they're winning, they're streaking that way. So, I mean, it's which one do they want right now? And obviously right now they're getting a win. So
yeah, right now they are. And, I mean, so far so good right now for Philadelphia. And the Twitter poll question, because we'll talk about this a little bit later on in the show.
You want to share a blanket with us, damn it? He can't even press the he can't even press the buttons.
I can't.
He's over here like, Ralphie, I can't get up.
I can't put my arms down.
We love you, sign guy.
Mm-hmm.
In case you haven't been able to tell, in case you can't tell from the reactions of Brodo, which you can't because he's behind the camera and behind the board. But one day we'll get that camera installed and we'll be able to actually see what's going on in the mind of Ryan Brodo. With that being said, though, it's cold in here, in case you haven't noticed. But anyway.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's okay.
It's like a
should have
night-
brought in my gloves.
3 coats, a hoodie, a blanket, and...
Yeah.
And flip-flops. Don't forget those.
Well, since, I'll take this.
Hey.
That's a dick move.
Our only heat source.
That's a dick move on your part, Brian. But anyway.
Hey, listen, I'm the old one in the group. I need the heat. Otherwise, I'm going to...
Die of frostbite?
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right. I didn't know
I'm going to be
frostbite.
getting up like this. Because I'll be frozen. Everything, my joints will be frozen.
I didn't know that frostbite, discriminated by age. But all right,
We're the
interesting.
first to go.
All right. Usually
Well, I got
it's
to keep my hands warm.
whatever exposed skin is. But anyway, so the Flyers getting their win tonight.
Oh no!
Already?
We only,
Not even
what are we, 5 minutes in?
Did we get off?
Away we go.
Yeah. Did we get off track again? Oh, I'm sorry. We do
Always.
this from time to time. In case you haven't noticed.
Time to time.
Yeah.
It's a ritual.
Seriously, it's every night. It's every Thursday that we do it.
Time to time is just a figure of speech. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's not every time. Just means that it happens.
We are not scared of the cold.
No,
We
we're
just
not.
don't like it.
Well, usually
difference.
we have gloves on. We're moving. We're sweating. It's
It's a little different
a
when
little
you're
different when you're just sitting still.
when you're sitting still and you're not actually, out there throwing the body around, taking the hits and shooting the puck.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
a little different. Or in Mike's case, trying to stop the puck.
Yeah, yeah, that's street hockey, man. Ice hockey, no, I play out that way. So
All right, so. I love that
What a
cut.
time to cut it off.
I love
Bop,
that
bop,
cutoff. I love that
And
cutoff.
that's
That
it.
cutoff was great. All right, so with that, the Flyers getting the win against Boston, going on that win streak. Our Twitter poll question does concern kind of where the Flyers are at right now because the trade deadline is oh so close, gentlemen.
Yes.
And decisions need to be made big time for the Philadelphia Flyers if they either A, want to keep this trend continuing or they want to set themselves up for a good run next year.
Anaheim as well.
With that being said, the Twitter poll question was, who should the Flyers consider trading or who will most likely leave the Flyers come the trade deadline? And that will be the choices of Shane Gostisbehere, since rumor mill's been around him. Wayne Simmons, obviously another guy that has been talked about.
Yes.
And I threw a Rocco Gudis in there only because there was a few articles I had read that did throw Rocco Gudis up as an option just to clear out a spot for a better defenseman to come in to the fold for them to, say, get more veteran leadership on the defense for the young guys. And then, of course, I left the good old infamous other down there at the bottom in case someone wanted to throw out that. And I know Ralph wants to throw out his obligatory G comment
G,
at
yeah.
some
Fuck
point
you, Ralph!
as the day comes along.
Even though you're not even on here yet.
yeah.
Oh, don't worry. Give
When
him
he
time.
joins.
Speaking of,
Oh,
I want to get to a few of these because they're coming
Yeah,
in
there's
fast.
a lot of
coming in
comments
hot.
coming
All right, then. Go right
Coming
ahead.
in hot. Tom Arnone. Yo, boys. 6 in a
Yo.
row. Let's go.
Yeah.
Jake, what's up, brother? Jake says, what's up?
What's up?
Pove.
What's up, Poe?
Tough to trade anyone by the deadline while the Flyers are hot.
Yeah, I agree.
It is.
It's a true
It
statement.
is. It's very, very hard.
Uh-oh.
You all right?
I just saw my breath. It's pretty
Oh,
chilly.
my God. Tom, you told Maddie to take his skirt
I got
off.
nervous for a second.
All right, then we got Greg Malakovic, 6 in a row. Heart baby, or should I say baby? Right, Maddie?
Yeah. Yeah, I know what he did there.
I have no idea what he did there. I just thought it was funny. David Raska, what's up, boys? Panarin should be traded to the Coyotes. Who should the Ducks get? Panarin ain't going nowhere.
Panarin.
And I would like to see
Panarin. Yeah.
I would like to see the Ducks get Matt Duchene.
Tarasenko.
Tarasenko, yeah, but Duchene, he's most likely out in Ottawa. Apparently they have a bad
Oh, yeah.
bad relationship right now.
Yeah.
Oh, well, fun.
Kyle Meagher, 6 in a row. Let's fucking go, baby.
Yeah.
Frank Vespi. Hey, yo, sorry to bother you, hashtag banana heads at work. Me thinks the Flyers should get some Ryan's Jello to get on this win streak. Me
Nice.
thinks that the Flyers had some of hashtag Ryan's Jello to get the win this week. Okay, that's fine. That makes more sense to me now. He also goes...
You know how they have Jello at the grocery stores?
Listen, I just read them. I don't write them.
But here's the thing. You know how they have those Jellos at the grocery store? You change the brand, and it's just Ryan.
What the hell did
That's
my
what
phone
it
just
is.
Jumped all the way down.
do? Did you see that?
I hate
Where
that.
did I leave off?
New
Okay, here we
comment
go.
must have came
Here
in.
we go.
Technology.
Frank Vespi also goes on to say, however, I am worried that in the middle of this streak, the Flyers are going to not pull the trigger with a trade. They're
Well,
going to pull the trigger, but I think they're going to wait a little bit to
they
see where the
will.
streak goes.
but that's the
There's
thing.
still a whole nother month.
Yeah, you still got time at the same time, too. Even if you don't pull the trigger at the trade deadline, what's the worst that happens? The Flyers miss the playoffs but get a good draft pick, and then you can make a trade later
Well,
on? I'm like,
earlier in the
all
year we were
right.
saying lose for Hughes, and now we're saying win for who? Like, I mean, win for Hart? What are we doing now?
Well,
no, Anaheim's going to lose for Hughes. Let's
Yeah.
go. Let's go.
Anaheim should.
tanking time.
They should, really.
We should. We suck. We don't really suck. We're just playing terrible hockey right now. Tommy goes on to say, we finally have our goalie, Matty. He actually said Marty, but I'm assuming he meant Matty.
Marty.
He also said to take off your skirt.
Damn.
He also said if you're cold, just to go sit in the bathroom for 20.
I agree.
It is
Which
nice
is
and
awkward.
warm in there.
Because, that's
usually
how
do
long I
anyway.
usually spend 20 minutes
Yeah.
in the bathroom is not staying warm.
Are you doing something that we don't want to know in the bathroom?
Usual.
Wow.
Okay.
Just usual.
I was going to say, because if it's taking 20 minutes, you know.
And Frank Vespi says, answer the poll question.
Our sign guy came through once again.
Doing what he does best.
Yes.
Kristaps Porzingis was traded to Dallas.
Where were
Just
you?
saying.
That was like 4 hours ago.
I know, but I'm just saying.
They were talking about that actually in between the shows.
Whatever.
Anyway.
Frank Vespi, to answer the poll question, I think Wayne is the first to go, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. Wayne Simmons is the first guy to go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's the one who's got the
He
most.
should be.
He's got the most value if you're seriously not considering trading Shane Gostisbehere. Because if you are, then Shane has the most value out of the two.
David Rosca posting some stuff about the Rams and the defense and somebody being scared about the Super Bowl, whatever. This is hockey, David. Tommy goes on to say, if they keep winning, they might not trade anybody, and that's a false statement because they will trade somebody because if they get themselves into playoff position, it's not going to be a fire sale like Chuck Fletcher had made it seem.
Well, I don't think
He's in.
He's in?
He's in.
Fuck you, Ralph.
I don't.
He's in.
Come on, did you ever really have a doubt?
No, I was
No,
they
no,
were
no.
just waiting for when.
I love it.
But I was gonna say
I
though.
love Ralphie. He gets me mad.
What I was.
But anyway, what I was saying, if the Flyers find a way to keep this streak going and climb back into a playoff spot, I don't think they're gonna have the fire sale like Chuck Fletcher has kind of like said that they were gonna have.
That's the thing.
Well,
though.
nobody's safe.
No, but
Except
that's
Exactly.
for except
But
for G. So
Exactly.
But that's the thing, though. I don't even know if Chuck Fletcher was going to have a fire sale, and I say that for one reason.
Well,
One
it's
reason
just
only.
like implied when
He-
you say like everybody's available for a trade.
He says that, but here's the thing. In a way, it's kind of to get the team on like a high gear, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, not everybody's available. There's still guys we're gonna hold on to. I mean, clearly there are gonna be some young guys we are not gonna trade.
No, obviously.
You know, I mean, yes. So
But if the deal's right, it's
of course, yeah. I mean, like obviously, if someone wants to trade us the #1 overall draft pick in exchange for a Shane Gostisbehere, you're dumb not to take that opportunity. But still, you get my point.
yeah, I get your point. But I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Frank Vespi, speaking of the cold, I wonder how many blankets can be made out of Joe Thornton and Brett Burns' beard.
ooh,
A lot.
that's
7?
gross.
I mean,
I
just
wouldn't wear
the
it.
neck alone usually can cover about
already
a good 4 or
itching.
5.
Yeah, seriously.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a good 4 or 5 children can be, given a blanket to withstand the cold and under those conditions.
Jake wants to know if the Flyers do make a trade, who or what do you see them getting?
Well, I think
Defenseman.
yes. Well,
saying.
a veteran defenseman who is not Andrew McDonald, because he can actually lead the young guys, and I think you would see a Wayne Simmons leaving and maybe even packaging in a Rocco Gudis with that in order to make space for that said veteran D-man without really having to do the healthy scratch bullshit that you would have to do time in and time out with that case. And then you run into the worry of scratching a young guy in exchange for a guy who is who he is, But overall, I would say Wayne Simmons is going. We're getting a veteran D-man back. We may package in a Rocco Gudis with it if we can, possibly a late-round pick if necessary to kind of sweeten the deal. Goal is to get somebody who at the end of the day you can be sure will have an impact on the team, who is not going to waste our time and is not going to waste their time coming to Philadelphia.
I had a good player in mind, but he had already been traded.
Oh, that sucked.
Yeah. He just got traded
Who's that,
a
Muzzin?
couple days ago. Bingo.
Yeah.
I think Jake Muzzin could have been a really good fit here in Philadelphia.
He would have been, and that's a shame.
They gave up a lot for him, though, right?
They did. They
They
gave
gave
up
him a
God.
lot.
Well-
They gave up a first-round pick
Well, who's to say
And two
that?
players.
and 2 players.
Well,
yeah.
who's to say that they weren't talking to the Kings, but then they thought, you guys want too much, we're pass. You know, I mean,
I'm not saying they didn't. I'm just saying I think he would have been a good fit here.
oh, he definitely probably would have been. I'm pretty sure Chuck has probably talked to everybody at this point in time. He's not dumb. He's not going to take a deal that clearly is going to gut us. That's the last thing you want.
Yeah. All right. Continuing on, Greg says he's going to go with Simmer. That's his vote for the poll. Dean says, "What's up, guys?"
What
Dean,
up,
what's
Dean?
going on, brother?
Hey, Dean.
And David Raska, I feel like I answer this question every week. Who should the Ducks get at the deadline?
Everybody.
Anybody that can score a fucking goal, David.
Yeah. The Ducks need more than 2 goals a game.
Just sign Wayne Gretzky out of retirement. and
I'm
they'll
sure he
solve
might play
the
better
problem.
right now.
I'll take Paul Correa right now. I'll take Timu Solani right now. I'll take both. Yeah, sign them both. Start that petition.
Yeah.
Instead of the petition for the Saints winning a rematch. Get the fuck out of here with that. Let's start a real petition. Let's get Timu and Paul Correa back together.
There was actual petition.
Like
for
Sweet
that?
Victory from the Bubble Bowl. Just sing at the Super Bowl. Nah, that's a petition I signed.
I would
Nah,
sign
but-
that petition.
I did.
Yeah.
I absolutely did.
But for real though, the Ducks need to go out and get a scoring left winger. I mean, you can go out and get a Matt Duchene. I wouldn't be upset about that. Because he's versatile. He can play wing. He can play center. I wanted Nino, but Nino got traded to Carolina. Who else is available? I would like to see Panarin, but I don't think Panarin's going anywhere.
No, and it's hard, too, because I think Panarin's a free agent at the end of this year, too. So it's like you're going to be giving up a lot for him for what could be just a rental. And if you're not making a playoff
I hate
push.
you.
So.
He's retired. He's not coming out of retirement.
Damn it.
Oh, fuck you, Ralph. I'm not reading that anymore. You're done. You're cut off.
You're drunk.
You're clearly drunk. Easy. Trade the only. Fuck you.
Is he drunk on the fix? Is that a question? I don't know. Maybe a general.
He's got to be drunk
observation.
24/7. I mean, he's a Lakers fan. He wishes he was drunk. Fair enough. We mean
Don't we
that with
all?
love. Sort of.
Sort of.
Dan Chirac Jr. If you trade Simmer, that's his name. At least
No, I wasn't laughing at the name. I
No,
was laughing at what
Tom
Tom
just
said.
put in a great comment.
Oh. Ralph's walking drunk. Nice. Dan Chirac Jr., if you trade Simmer, you're not going to get value back from him. Trading forwards like him just show the value doesn't come back.
Well, no. That's why you package. That's why you create a deal that will attract teams. Really, at the end of the day, Wayne would be fine for a team that needs somebody in depth reasons, for depth roles. Because right now, Wayne isn't going to net you that top forward or a top D-man by himself. But if you throw in a player that could be another depth choice, that could help a team that is a little strapped for cap right now, at the same time, too, they also are competing for a playoff spot, and they're not getting the production that they want out of a veteran, or they feel like they need to dish a veteran at this time. It's like you can come up with creative ways to send somebody out with another player, maybe a pick that isn't going to kill you at the end of the day, and in return, you get something back for that player. There's other ways around it. It's not just trading Wayne by himself.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing that I think a lot of people are confused by. It's like, well, trading Wayne isn't going to get you the value you want back. It's like, not unless you come up with a deal that is attractive enough for another team. You don't just package Wayne by himself.
No.
Because that's just playing that's playing silly.
But
right
even if you do, I mean, I think Wayne still has somewhat of a value.
He's a 20-25 goal scorer historically.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, he's a big 6'4" guy that could sit in front of the net and just score.
I just think he's like everybody else on this team right now. I think he's just frustrated, and his frustration is keeping him from scoring goals.
I think so too.
And him playing the game his way. Because I was watching the game earlier, he didn't look like he was playing with any kind of intensity, any kind of motivation. But he just kind of feels like he's just out there going through the motions. And maybe a change of scenery is what he needs.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about. A change of scenery. And plus also, when I look at it this way, it's like, okay, so we package him along with a Rocco Gudis or somebody who then could leave a spot open for a veteran D-man that I've wanted for the past year now to come onto the team. And that spot is right there for him to take. All you have to do is move somebody down.
Yeah.
And there you go. Problem solved for your defensive leadership issue. And then on top of that, too, if you got rid of a Wayne Simmons and you don't necessarily have somebody to immediately take his place, you have a young guy step up and say, hey, listen, this is your chance to shine. Either you're going to make it happen or you're going to fall flat on your fucking face. One of the two is going to happen.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. Because at this point, take a gamble on the youth because the youth have been playing well. It's not like they've been playing like shit.
No.
And it's not like they're not trying. It's just that sometimes they have a lack of leadership, and sometimes it's because opportunities just aren't there. It can happen, you know.
Yeah, look at Oscar Lindblom. He's got 2 goals in 2 games.
Yeah, there you go.
One being a game winner and one being a game tying goal.
Yeah.
So big goals and big moments.
People forget about Travis Konechny having a pretty darn good year right now.
He's having a quietly good year.
Yeah,
you're not hearing his name a lot, but he's good. He's putting pucks in the net.
Sleeper-wise, he's been doing really well. And at the same time, too, obviously Giroux is going to get a good bulk of the goals. Jake Voracek should get a bulk of the points on this team. They should. They're the 2 highest paid players on this team.
Yeah.
If they're not logging some of those points, then we're going to have some serious issues right now with those 2.
Absolutely.
But as far as packaging, you got to Flyers and hopefully Chuck Fletcher's a magician like like Hextall was, and get fucking Adrian McDonald's contract off the books.
See, that's
somebody you got to package him. Somebody's got to take it.
See, that's the thing. I don't see that happening. That's why I say Gudis, because I could see someone taking Gudis because his contract's shorter. I could see that totally happening. McDonald's contract is bulky and it's not very friendly to most cap.
No, they're going to be like, you're going to keep paying that contract. We'll take the player. You keep paying.
I'm almost just like, I'm just counting.
And if you have to, eat some of the contract.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
it's not a big deal.
I think if most teams,
to.
What is it? It's like a $4.7 or something $1 million a year contract is what he's got.
McDonald?
Yeah.
It's a 5.
5, yeah. So, I mean, if a team's willing to pay at least 2 or something, or, just to try to get some of that cap, I mean, it might work that way. But for his production and, him actually being on the ice, he's not worth even $2 million right now. So
Dan goes on to say, since we're talking about trading Simmer, either way, I'm not going to be pissed at the end of the day. They have plenty of cap space for the offseason.
No, that's true. And I like that because, listen, if they don't make a deal, like I said, what's the worst that's going to happen? You miss the playoffs, either by a very small percentage in points, which, by the way, should be considered pretty darn good for a second half, considering the fact that you were one of the worst teams in the league and you damn near made the playoffs. That tells you, damn, this team's got some resolve to it after going through one of the worst starts you could possibly get. They just dug themselves too deep of a hole to get out of at that time. However, if you miss, at least miss with a good chance to draft somebody good. At least I would say that if you know you're going to miss, at least like, all right, let's just try and get the highest pick we can get now. If we can make a trade in the offseason or during the draft, we'll do it then.
It's a Sam Hinkie move. It's a Sam Hinkie move. And look how well that turned out.
Going 12-70.
Mm-hmm.
It worked.
It's not a bad thing.
No.
You wind up with a Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons.
I mean, but that's the thing, though. It's just like.
Just saying.
Yeah.
All-stars.
You could end up with a Hughes.
Both all-stars.
Oh, yeah.
Just saying.
I mean, at that point, it's just like, if that's what Chuck Fletcher's thinking right now, it's like, all right, fine. I'm on it.
It only took Embiid 3 years to get on the court, though.
Well, that was
he's on the court now. Look at him. He's one of the best.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Well, to be fair, though, that was because of an injury. So, I mean, it's just like it's not necessarily the fault of
almost
the
a
player.
Greg Odom over there. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. Relax. I love
Wow.
Embiid. No, I'm just kidding.
Why don't you just walk over there and just kick him in the nuts? Jesus
I could.
Christ.
I don't think so.
Ben Simmons wasn't a rookie. Ah!
Yeah, he's gonna wear it.
Oh, you done messed up.
Can I have that back, please?
Give our sign guy back his glove. Come on now.
I do. I mean, I like the idea of seeing the Flyers do that. Like, put yourself in the best position
Oh yeah, absolutely.
to get a piece that probably not going to help you right away. Maybe a year or two.
Yeah.
You got your goaltender in place.
Yeah.
Right. Sanheim is showing that he's starting to take steps forward.
And
You have Gostisbehere. You have Haig, who's showing that he's got some promise.
and then on the forwards, you've got guys like Lindblom. and
Vrony's
you've got-
playing well.
Yeah.
Lindblom's playing well right now. You got to get Vorobiev going. Vorobiev is a very good player.
Vorobiev
If
is
he's given the
yeah.
shot.
Patrick, I think, needs to. He's another guy who's got to work out some kinks, but I think he's doing that slowly.
TK's
TK's doing
TK's
fine.
doing what he does, and then you have Nolan Patrick who needs to take a step forward. You got really good young pieces in place. Just find some good veteran players that can help these guys take that next step.
And you have those guys on the forwards. You have a James Van Riemsdyk. You have a Claude Giroux. You have a Jake Voracek. You have veteran players that are on this team for the forward. The problem is you don't have the correct veterans on your back end, which is what's been killing the Flyers because our defense is young, it's trying, but it doesn't have that veteran defenseman that they need right now to take them from here to here, and then we will be in a better spot come the beginning of the season. And overall, though, at least also, by the way, I think we might have found our backup, too, with Stoli after what he did with New York. He did a great job shutting out the Rangers and giving a 1-0 victory. That was a tough fight for them, but they managed to squeak out a victory. By the way, first time they had beaten the Rangers in almost all their regular season meetings since the 80s. The 80s.
In New York?
Yeah. In the early 1980s, they haven't really crushed the Rangers like that in both the games in New York and played well against them in Philly since the early 80s.
That's
it's
crazy.
always been one or the other for them.
That is nuts.
strange.
But yeah, I mean, there's guys out there like I was saying while you were on your hiatus. Flyers should go out and try and get a guy like Justin Falk.
That's exactly who I was thinking of. I always think of Justin Falk in my mind where I'm thinking, talk about a guy who just has all the tools you need as a veteran D-man. He's been on the Hurricanes for a long time before he wound up, doing what he did. But overall, though, I like his game. I like how he plays. He's got a good mind. It's just like he's got everything you need. He may not be the sexy pick. He's not. He's not like the Carlsons of the world. But subtly, he's one of those guys who's going to add that quality to your defense that you need right now.
Yeah, he's
the guy's an all-star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just about to bring that up. He's a former all-star. But then again, you got Danny Heatley, the fucking all-star.
I'm the fucking all-star,
I'm
man.
the fucking all-star.
Danny Heatley hasn't been relevant in so long.
Right, that's exactly my point. But he
Dude, he used to be a sniper, though, man.
he was a stud.
Back when he was
Oh,
on
my
the Wild.
God. Dude, he was ripping. Like, he was...
You go out and you get a guy like a
Damn.
Justin Falk. He's not only just necessarily a defensive leader. He can be an offensive leader. He's a captain. Is he the captain there? No. I think Justin Williams is.
No.
He's an alternate captain. But even still, you got him for an extra year. I believe he's a 4.5, maybe a $5 million cap hit. And I think I'm overshooting it. Yeah, you'll have him for a year and a half. Just to take the take the young guys to the next level.
Yeah.
You need Sam Moran back. He needs to get healthy. He needs to come up. And honestly, I don't think he's probably playing this year.
I could
At least
see
on the
that.
big club.
I could see that.
But he will definitely have a shot next year.
Oh, absolutely. Again,
4.8.
Again.
4.8. All right.
All right. So that's not a bad cap hit at all.
No, it's what you're paying Simmons. Maybe a little bit more than what you're paying Simmons.
And that's the other thing too. Like for where the way Carolina's playing, Carolina could be a playoff team. So it's like they may not be a bad person to call. Yes, they are in the division, and you are competing with them right now in the wild card. But it's not the worst thing in the world to call them up and say, "Hey, listen, you give us Justin Falk, we can give you a Wayne Simmons. We'll package you another D-man, so that way you have somebody on your blue line. If you want to pick, you can have a pick, but it's going to be a later round pick, by the way. Like you can come up with deals.
No, absolutely. Speaking of, you know how ESPN has that you can create your own like basketball trades? Do they do that for hockey too?
I don't know. It's hard to say.
We're gonna find out.
A part of me would say no because ESPN doesn't give a shit about hockey. So, I mean, you know that they don't when Barry Melrose is their expert. So,
God
All right,
damn
so
it, Barry.
KG Sobolewski is chiming in. Could get to his comments. He's got a really good question afterwards. Flying high in Central Florida right now, boys. Let's go Sixers. Make my fucking night. He goes on to say, finally a goaltender to get excited about.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, 100%. The kid's a stud. He asked, can we give our just 2 seconds for our opinions on Gudas? Settle the debate right now with buddies. Well, KJ, what's your opinion on Gudas?
He's
I'll
a
get-
POS.
with
I honestly, I can't stand him.
I would say this. I don't know if Gudis. I think Gudis has a bad rep and therefore gets him in the box when it's unnecessary. Because, like I said, there's plenty of times where he hasn't done something illegal, but he still got thrown in the box anyway because his reputation preceded him. However, one thing I will say, he hasn't taken as many costly penalties as Wayne Simmons has in recent years, because Wayne always had a nice little habit during a playoff game
Yeah,
when
he
you have
loves
the
doing
fucking lead to take a penalty. I'm like, why the fuck are you taking a penalty? But
You're
still,
referring to that series against the Capitals.
and also the Penguins,
Yeah,
because
against
he
the
did the
Penguins,
same
too.
thing in Game 2.
They just got a power play, and it was like 6 seconds into the power play, he got like a hooking or something.
I think we just took the lead on you guys too, and he legitimately took a penalty. I'm like, what the fuck? But my point is though, is that Rocco Gudis, at the end of the day, he's not a player that you necessarily need. He's just a warm body to fill a role at
Yeah,
the time.
he's a solid-
nothing more than that.
Yeah,
at
he's-
the end of the day.
If he can keep his cool and keep his head, he can be a decent shot blocking,
Stay-at-home
defenseman.
defenseman, yeah.
But his biggest problem is he gets himself riled up, and he gets too much emotion into his game, and because he does that, he tends to take stupid penalties, and
sometimes he's a little too aggressive on his play and therefore leads to a lot of odd man rushes because he's about as guilty of it as the young guys are. So that's like, Gudis, you don't need to be chipping up on plays like that. You should be hanging back because you're the one guy who doesn't have the speed.
I mean, that doesn't really concern me all that much because all the defensemen do it. But he just takes bad penalties at the worst times. He lets his emotions get the best of him. He finds a way at some point every season to get himself suspended. And KJ, I got to agree with your boys, man. He is a goon. He did look good tonight, and he's looked good for most of this season, but he's a goon. He's a ticking time bomb before he goes off. And to get him off the roster would probably, especially with some of these younger guys,
Yeah.
could benefit.
And not only that, too, like, I mean, if you had somebody like, say, a Sam Moran who did get thrown into the box, I'm like, all right, he's young. He'll have room to grow and to learn, okay, this is when you take your hit. This is when you don't take your hit.
Yeah.
Whereas Gudis, he's been doing this for how long? And Gudis is just who he is.
Yeah.
You know, this is his type of play. That's how he likes to play.
Well, I
the
mean,
same-
he's what, 25, 26
Yeah, but
in that ballpark?
yeah, but by then that's when guys start really filling into, okay, this is what I do and this is how I do it.
I feel the same way
there's
about
a-
Gino, though. He's
Yeah.
a guy that just takes stupid penalties.
He's another guy who
You know.
loses his temper a lot.
So, well, you saw last night him and Stamkos fought. I mean,
You got it, KJ.
that was pretty fun to watch. Actually, it was right in the beginning of the third period. I mean, obviously it was a thing for Stamkos to try to get the spark going. They were down 4-0 going into the third period. So
And if that's what Gudis was trying to do, like, yeah,
Then
that's,
it's a
that's
different
great.
story.
It's a completely different
Yeah.
story. It's not necessarily that he does what he does. It's how he does it and how
Yeah.
much emotion he puts into it. Like the Matthew Perreault when he tried to basically chop his head off with his stick.
That was
Like,
stupid.
come on,
That
man.
was dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
That
come on.
was-
That's
no room
that's
for
what I
that.
mean by he's a ticking time bomb. There's going to be some point where he's going to do something stupid because of the heat of the moment.
Yeah, you become
Pure emotion,
you
and he's
be-
going to be suspended.
you become a liability out there on the ice, and you don't want to be a liability, especially if you start making the playoffs. I'm like, you're too much of a liability because you put us down way too many times.
KJ
Yeah.
says, yeah, he has some stupid penalties in bad situations. Good job, guys. Keep it up. Thanks, KJ, man.
Thanks,
Keep tuning in,
KJ.
brother.
Yeah, man, we love it. So, with that, we talked about guys who could be traded or guys who could possibly be packaged away. For me, my ideal trade is to trade a Wade Simmons if you can package a Rocco Gudis, because I swear to God, we are not going to be able to package that Andrew McDonald deal.
No.
It's so bad. We have no choice.
You're
we
gonna
have
have to
just
eat it.
wait and watch the clock. That is all we can do with Andrew McDonald at this time. And as per the Shane Gostisbehere idea, I just don't like the idea of trading Gostisbehere because he's a guy who I want to see be the leader of this team as
exactly.
a defensive and stuff. Because I don't see that necessarily in the other guys, and that's not an offense to Hogg or to Sanheim or to anybody else. But we need a young guy to take those other guys and put them in. He's like, okay, that's the ace right there of our defense. And I just don't see that ace with the other guys. They're great at what they do. They're good at their role. Even Provy's good at what he does. Even when he's struggling, he's trying. You know, it's like
I was going to say
he's been struggling, but he has been getting better as the season's been going along. Point is, like, again, that's a guy, even though we drafted him higher, he's another guy I would say he's not there. Like, Gostisbehere has to be the ace of this defense. I get what Fletcher wants to do if he wants to trade him, get a lot of value back for him. I understand that side of it, but at the same time, like, if you're going to go that route, you have to get a veteran D-man then that's going to be here for a longer period of time than necessarily a few years.
Okay, let's jump back to Provorov real quick.
Sure.
And we can even lace Travis Konechny into this a little bit. So everybody complains Konechny's not playing up to his stature, that Provorov has regressed and taken a step back. Keep in mind, these guys have very little. TK played junior hockey for 1 year, and then he made the Flyers roster. Ivan Provorov did not even play a lick of junior since being drafted.
Yeah,
he didn't even play AHL since he's been drafted. So he's missing out on that little bit of seasoning that he probably could have gotten. He's not regressing. He's developing.
Yeah.
He's developing. Yeah, he played well. He's played well. He's played bad. Every player has bad games. Every player. Unless you're Mario Lemieux or Wayne Gretzky. Other than that, you've had bad games.
True. A bad game for Mario was 2 goals.
But same thing with Gretzky.
Yeah. Well, it was
But
like
with
6 points.
Provorov, he still needs he's still young. He's still really young, and he still needs to develop a little bit. There's nothing wrong with him taking a step back as long as he's going to learn from those mistakes and take 2 steps forward.
Well,
Sorry, Cameron.
yeah, you picked two defensemen that necessarily don't score too much. If anybody, Ghost would be the better one, but not so much Prov.
Well, I mean, Ghost does.
Provy's got more goals than
Does he this year?
Ghost does.
Well,
Well, overall, I mean, I would take Ghost
Again,
over
though,
in fantasy,
I
but-
say this about 1,000 times over.
Well,
though.
Gostisbehere's on the power play.
Yeah.
He's on the first unit.
Again,
that sucks.
well, to be fair though, the power play's been terrible this year. So, and same thing with the penalty kill.
28th going into tonight.
Yeah, wonderful. But
Nice.
with that,
Well,
I
they
mean,
had 2.
Nice.
So, 2
but,
power play goals.
But overall, though, again,
Sorry about that, Cameron. It might be time to make a trade. Sorry.
that's all right. The overall thing that I will say, and the overall theme of this, in case no one's put 2 and 2 together, that we're all saying is patience. You know, that is the goal with this team because, like, listen, I understand that, you want to see this team succeed right out of the gate. Like, I do too. And believe me, the way they started off this season, it looked like they were going to have a good year. And then they just absolutely plummeted down to earth
shit the
and
bed.
hit rock bottom, went into a 6-foot deep hole, and looked like they were never climbing out
Went
of
into
it.
6 different goaltenders before bringing it
Yeah,
apart.
it was awful. It's probably,
You avoid that situation at all costs because you want him to take you want to take your time with the guy that's going to be your future.
Yeah, and that's the thing too about these young D-men is like I say this about 1,000 times over. It's like, again, you need those veteran leaders, and that's the other thing too about Travis Konechny. Konechny's been doing fine. I think people just don't see him making those flashy plays, and they automatically assume that TK's not living up to his potential. I'm like, whoa, relax. TK's been doing all right. He's been
Poor Cameron.
subtly.
Jesus.
Sorry, Cameron.
He's
2-13, dude. That's rough.
Ooh.
That's rough, bro.
But it's been, but subtly and surely, it's been getting better for some of the younger players. It's just they're developing, you know, and you got to take your time with these guys. It's like people just automatically say, "Oh, okay, they're on the team. That must mean they're ready." I'm like, in theory, that is what it's supposed to mean, but that doesn't necessarily mean it at all.
No, they still got to get adjusted to the speed of the
and
game.
Think about it this way. Did Giroux score a shit ton of goals when he first came up? Absolutely not. Giroux very rarely scored. And when he did, though, it was a big deal. But look at him now. He's coming off of 100 points last year,
Yeah.
He's been one of the best goal scorers in the game right now. It's like give him time. James Van Riemsdyk, another guy who, when he first came up, very rarely scored.
Yep.
The most significant goal he had during his rookie time period was that one goal in Boston, which was the weirdest goal in the world that eventually led to the Flyers winning that Game 7 that year. So
now he's on pace. I think he's got like 4 or 5 goals in the last 6 games.
yes, he's
Yeah,
found
well,
his.
he's getting his money's worth.
Now
you
he's
know.
figured out his game again. But
Brad Lewis, though, does not want TK traded. He said he's the man, and I hope he doesn't get traded. I
absolutely,
like TK. I like what he
agree.
brings.
And that's the point. Like, there are people who complain about some of the younger guys. I'm like, give them time. JVR didn't light the lamp up when he first started. Neither did Giroux. The problem is that we had a lot of other flashy players to
Yeah.
distract you from that. We had the Danny Briere. We had the Jeff Carter, the Mike Richards. We had the Chris Pronger. We had Gakimo Timonen, the Braden Coburns. We had a lot of guys.
Sam Gagne.
Simone Gagne.
You mean
Simone
Simone Gagne.
My bad. Excuse me. This is why I'm not a Flyers fan.
Although-
Sam Gagne is currently playing in Vancouver.
Yes, and he did play for the Flyers.
He
but
did, for a
yes,
year.
For a year. But point is, though, is that you had a lot of players to distract you from the development of James Van Riemsdyk, Claude Drew. So if they had a bad game,
They have
you-
leaders.
Yeah.
They had guys that can actually.
you could kind of overlook what happened there and be like, okay, so Drew had a bad game, but he's developing right now. We still had 4 goals scored by Carter and Richards and Danny Briere and Scott Hartnell.
But
you know?
I also get where some of the fans are coming from. Like, we've had this organization since, 1968? And they don't miss the playoffs often. The 90s, I don't remember them ever missing the playoffs.
Well, the early 90s,
2000s.
but that was it.
Well, yeah. I don't remember them missing the playoffs in the early 2000s either. Like, this is a team that was always set up to win. And that's what this fan base wants. They want this team that's ready to win. They're not used to the rebuild that Ron Hextall started. Basically taking it to the fucking ground and building it back up.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And I said that before. We're always spoiled with, okay, they make some big splash every year. They're going to make another splash. And when that splash didn't come, a lot of people got a little worried about that. I'm like, relax. It's a good thing he didn't, because how many times did Paul fucking Holmgren and fucking many other GMs that we had come and go made a trade that sent young guys away? Guys like Justin Williams, Dennis Seidenberg, just to name 2 of them that we had. Patrick Sharp, another guy that we had when he was young, traded him away too. Oh, and Brian Boucher, who probably would have been our starting goalie for an extended period of time. And we wouldn't be talking necessarily about the goaltending carousel.
Bobrovsky?
You know, he could have been a gap to Bobrovsky, honestly. I mean, that's the way it could have been. But we traded all those guys away to get veteran guys. And a lot of times when we tried to do that, we made the playoffs, but how far did we get?
Yeah.
We got to the Eastern Conference Finals in 2004. Game 7, and we still lost to the Tampa Bay Lightning at the end of the day. I mean, yeah, if we had gone to face Calgary, a lot of people would have said the Flyers would have won that series. I'm like, okay, fine. Congratulations. We would have won
Could
that
have,
series.
yeah.
But it didn't happen. We still lost to a very young team in Tampa Bay that – one thing Bill Clement pointed out during one of their games was that they had one of the lowest payrolls at that time in the NHL, where there was no salary cap, and they went from worst to first, and they went all the way to Stanley Cup Finals and won, with a Vinny Lecavalier in his prime, a Martin St. Louis in his prime, and a Nikolai Khabibulin having a career year. You know?
Yeah.
It tells you everything you need to know, that you don't need to have the big, sexy players in order to get yourself a Stanley Cup at the end of the
No,
day.
not at all. Look at the teams that are winning now. And when Anaheim won, they weren't a sexy team
No.
at all. They were actually more of a physical team.
Well, they were.
I can't say anything.
A lot of their
Pittsburgh is Pittsburgh's a sexy team.
They're a sexy team.
They're a
They've
sexy team.
always established that team, and then they've gone on to win cups. with
Washington
it.
was a sexy team. LA was a sexy team.
Chicago.
Chicago.
To an extent, Chicago
Yeah.
was
Well,
for a
yeah.
period
I
of
mean,
time.
you had Taves and Kane, and you had
Well, yeah, but
Brent
you-
Seabrook,
Brent Seabrook and
Duncan
Duncan
Keith.
Duncan Keith, yeah, and
But other than that, there's just a bunch of role players.
But
You
to be-
just got to put the role players in the right spot, and it takes time to find those players.
Oh, absolutely.
Brendan Saad wasn't a top pick.
no,
Look at the player he is now.
neither was Jarmerson.
Patrick
or-
Hornquist was the last
No.
pick in Crosby's draft.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, you have, and then like I said, Jarmerson wasn't a high pick. Corey Crawford was a nobody until he showed up in Chicago and wound up putting on a great postseason performance, and that got him a starting role for years.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it isn't that hard to outdo Antoniemi, but still, at the end of the day, the point is that a lot of these teams had a lot of good players, but not all of them were the big, flashy players.
It takes time.
And again,
big picture.
yeah,
Big
picture. at the
Nobody's
end of the
really
day.
looking at the big picture. Everybody's.
Yeah.
It's like I said, the Flyers were always a team that won. They were always in the playoffs. They were always a good team. Most fans don't know how to deal with this because it's what they're used to. It's what they're accustomed to. You just got to be patient, think big picture, and it's going to get to the point where they're going to spend the next 10, 15 years probably making the playoffs, Stanley Cup runs. Like, if they could put the players in the right spot. For all you fucking know, like, they could have a Stanley Cup in the next 3 years. Not
Which would be
likely.
crazy, but
Not likely,
Well,
but
with
if
the
they do
goaltender
it
that they
right.
have,
I
I
mean,
mean, and moving some quality, not quality
listen,
pieces, but bringing in quality pieces.
I will say this:
possible.
if we got to the Stanley
Yeah.
Cup, if we got to the Stanley Cup Finals with Michael Layton,
You could get there.
you could get there with anybody.
Yeah.
Seriously, you could get there with fucking anyone.
I
Seriously.
don't know if he's still in our system. I checked the roster the other day for
probably
Wilkes-Barre, and
He's
he
probably
wasn't
not.
on there. We did bring up a young kid last night for the game, Teddy Beluger, who was the Penguins' highest scoring guy in AHL, so pretty hyped about that. But I was just gonna say that's the thing that kind of scares me. Though you talked about how the Flyers would bring in these savvy vets for the playoff run and getting rid of their youth, and that's something that I know is gonna hurt the Penguins big time down the road. And it's a little different because yes, they did win 2 Stanley Cups, but I mean, the future is going to be scary in the next 5 years. I mean, thinking about it long term, you gave up, Kapanen, you gave up multiple first-round picks for players. I mean, come on, you gave a first-round pick for Ryan Reeves. You gave a couple first-round picks for Phil Kessel and Kapanen in that trade. So it's just, like I said, I'm not mad because he brought in the pieces while we had our best team. And it was smart and it worked. But when you're looking long term, it's going to greatly affect them. I mean, we have a goalie for the future, but when you look at the other pieces, I mean, Mata, yeah, he could be a defenseman for the future, but other than that, I mean, Chris Letang's, I mean, he's still on his, just turned 30. I mean, he's still young, but not like, 5 years down the road, it's going to be a little different story.
The window is going to be closing for Pittsburgh soon is essentially the point you're getting
Yeah,
to.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's so that's why I'm like okay with you have the Crosby, you have the Malkin, you have the Letang. So I'm okay with risking the future to win cups now. I don't have a problem with
And
it.
that
But
was the
it's
thing.
scary.
But that was
But-
the thing. Pittsburgh thought then that, we're only like a piece or two away.
Yeah.
We're a Phil Kessel away from winning cups here.
Yeah.
And they went out and got it. They mortgaged the future to go get it.
Yeah.
And it benefited big time. Because
Oh,
how
yeah.
many did they win? 3?
2. Yeah, 2 with
Well,
Rutherford and 3 since Crosby's come in the league. So
Right. So
3 in the last 10.
yeah.
11
So
now, but-
that's something that pays off. Like
Yeah.
if you know that you're gonna have a bit of a dynasty like Pittsburgh had, like Chicago had, I guess you can throw LA in there because they won 2 in 3
Yeah.
years. You take that risk of mortgaging your future up a little bit. That's something the Flyers cannot afford to do right now.
No.
No.
They need to maybe get rid of some of the veterans to make room, or maybe even bring in a guy like a Kasperi Kapanen who's on the block.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, he would be a great piece, honestly. I mean, the kid has tremendous upside to his game and has been playing great
Overall,
this year.
though, this is a great problem for the Flyers to have right now. With a lot of the young talent that they do have. The goal is just like, just making it all gel together at the end of the day. And I get it. We want cups. I understand. I want cups too. Believe me. 2010, it was 9 years ago. And since then, the Flyers have not even sniffed a second round. The last time they were in the second round was 2012. So it's been a while since the Flyers have actually been in the playoffs and made any sort of run at all. I get all of the problems that are being brought up about slow progress or what have you, but it's what happens when you hit the reset button.
Yeah.
And to be fair, we're actually at the end of it and people don't realize it. Because when you realize, look at how the youth is playing right now. We're really just a little bit of leadership away before this team is ready to go. and it actually will be competitive. Because think about it. We have our goalie. We know we have our goalie now.
And he's in place, and you know what he is.
And we have a forward. We have a forward unit that can actually be dangerous. It just needs to stay consistent, and it needs to have the young guys step up and start doing what they got to do. But once they get to their roles, like a Nolan Patrick, then they'll be fine. The defense is the only major focus right now that needs to really be hammered down, and the foundation needs to be set. And once that is set in motion, we're at the end of it. It's just going to take the patience now of just letting that end come to a close. Really, we are, when you think about it in the long run.
Playoff team in the next year.
Yeah, so it's like,
pending the right moves, obviously.
of course, but that's
yeah.
my point. It's just like, think about it. It's just like we're at the end of it. People don't realize it. They just think that it's just like, oh, man, this is going to take 2 or 3 years.
They're just tired of seeing the team struggle. They're tired of seeing the team just kind of being mediocre. They're ready for the next step.
They are.
And I don't blame them. Because, my team's there. And they're playing below mediocre hockey right now.
Which is terrible for them.
Yeah. And, it's frustrating to see. Like, I'm ready to just be like, all right, the window's closed. Just fucking blow it up. Blow it up. I'm ready for it to be blown up. I love Getzlaf. Maybe ship him off. Love Perry. Ship him off. Kessler. Love Kessler. Probably one of my top 3 players on the team. Time to ship him off. Like, it's time to blow it up. And it takes time. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with watching a couple years of bad hockey because mediocre hockey is no fun. Just to get to that point where you're Pittsburgh winning 2 cups back to back. That's the goal. Obviously, the ultimate goal is to win a cup, but it takes time to look at the bigger picture. And a lot of people don't like to look at that because they like to win now, especially in this area. Because, like I said, they're used to it. It's what they've been used to for 20 years watching Flyers hockey. They're just ready for it now. They don't want to wait another year or 2, maybe 3. Who knows? Don't really know how long.
The way that they're playing, though, I mean, I think earlier in the year we were kind of talking about how they could be sellers. But right now, I think the Flyers could potentially be buyers at this trade deadline.
Well, I think both. They would probably sell to get something back. That would pretty much be they would be kind of a hybrid of it because really it's a long-term spot that we're looking to fill, not a short-term.
Well, let's just hope they don't do any moves like they did last year and not make a trade, but still pick up Johnny Aduya, which I thought was a good claim at the time, but they never fucking played him.
No.
Because of an injury.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why, which was stupid.
And then you let him go. You don't even sign him another year. Like, he could have been your veteran leader because he's a good stay-home defenseman, or at least he was.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's, talking about defensemen, I mean, the Penguins traded away their big boy the other night, too, sending him back to Dallas for a 4th-round pick, which, it was a surprise, but at the same time, I look at this team and I'm like, Justin Schultz is skating today. Actually, today was his first time back on the ice since breaking his leg, so you have to move a roster spot for him. And obviously, Ricola for us is going to be the guy that's going to be sent down for Schultz's spot. But I mean, that's just a tremendous boost for us. And
it hurts your defense though, losing a guy like Alexiak.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it loses our physicality too. I mean, he's a guy that's going to step in and fight if he needs to, and it's definitely what we're going to be missing now. But
that's another thing I think the Flyers
Schultz,
are missing. Ducks are missing it too. Is every once in a while you gotta drop the gloves.
Oh well, but
who's dropped the gloves for the Flyers lately?
But that's the thing though. I think the reason why is because our chippiest player being Wayne Simmons. He probably knows he's getting traded.
He's getting away from his game,
but that's my point. I think he knows in the back of his head, I'm the one who's going to go. Because, I mean, and
even if he's not, that's a bad way to look at it because that's taking you off your game. That's taking your mind out of focus, and you're not playing your game the way that you're supposed to be.
And that would explain, but to me, that would explain the reason why he's played the way he's played in these last few games because it's just like, I think he's seeing those rumor mills. Most players tell you in an interview they don't focus on those things, but those things do come up.
They probably don't focus on them, but they do pay attention.
They do pay attention, and I think Wayne Simmons may be taking that very seriously right now, realizing like I'm probably going to go to another team before the season's out.
I saw him I saw him on a couple plays on the back check where he just wasn't skating.
Just lazy, right?
Yeah,
just playing lazy hockey.
Again, I think it's because of that reason, honestly, because there's no other reason why he do it. He's not hiding an injury because that was last year when he was hiding an injury.
Where is he?
But imagine being that guy in the locker room for the last 2 to 3 years saying that like he's going to be the first guy traded. Imagine being in that locker room now. That's why earlier in the season we saw him getting frustrated. I mean, this team was at the bottom of the barrel. I mean,
He's still playing frustrated.
Yeah,
You can tell.
But could you imagine though, like every year trade deadline comes around, Simmer might be getting traded again, and it just hasn't happened. I think for him and for this organization, it might be the best thing just to part ways with him. It's going to make I think it's going to make both fans and it's going to make him happy.
I mean,
I feel like he's not being welcomed to this team anymore. Not so much with the other players, but I'm saying with the fans.
Well, I think, and this is kind of the truth with the fan base, any fan base really. If they believe and they kind of have a good feeling that this is the guy who's going in a trade, they really stop considering them all that much because they're just like, well, the guy's leaving anyway. Mm-hmm. Well, the guy's going to get traded anyway. So what's the big deal if he doesn't score a goal here? It does happen in fan bases when you start to get that way and you start to feel like, okay, this guy's leaving anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, again, that's a terrible way to look at it because you want to get the value out of your player
Oh,
regardless
of
if he's staying or not. So, as a coach, whether it's a head coach, assistant coach, even I'm sure Chuck should be in the locker room being like, listen, trading you guys is not a sure thing. Get your mind off it. Get out there, play the best game that you can. Just win for the sweater. Don't worry about anything else.
Yeah.
And like you said, a lot of guys, they do take some of that stuff to heart, and it is a distraction. It looks like it's affecting Wayne Simmons. But then again, he hasn't really played really well all year. So we can play the trade card as an excuse, but he could be hurt. He could just be frustrated because he's not having a good year like he has in the past.
Well, I mean that too.
But he's getting away from his game. He's getting away from being physical. He's getting away from dropping the gloves once in a while. He's not really parking himself in front of the net like he used to.
Yeah. But also, too, it may also be the new coach. I mean, that
could be.
That's another thing, too. He may not like the coach and he may not like the system all that much. I mean, that's another possibility right there, which we could actually talk about a little bit later on. Is he going to be permanent or is he still really an interim in Philadelphia's eyes? Is Scott Gordon going to be our guy going forward, or are we really just having him hold that spot for another coach come the offseason? We'll talk about that on the other side, and we'll also talk about the scores going around the NHL, which ones went final, which ones are about to get started, and then anything else we haven't caught up with yet or any loose ends that we have to tie up, we'll tie those up as well. Oh, by the way, before we leave you with this note.
Actually, real quick, all games are final already.
All right, then. So then we'll go into the scores for
all
today.
All 3 of them.
Yeah.
All right, then. Good to know. With that,
a lot of bye weeks.
Before
before
we come back, though, we'll leave you all with this. If you think that your team's doing bad, one of the Nashville Predators just got sent home because he's still abusing alcohol and violated a step 2 in the violation of the policy.
Nice.
Good.
So
these guys are scumbag anyway.
Not as bad as it could be. So with that being said, folks, this is the Hockey Happy Hour on A2DRadio.com, brought to you by Gibson Mayer LLC, your certified public counsel, located 31 Oxford Valley Road in Yardley, PA. Give them a call, 215-369-3300. Do you like taxes? Of course you don't. No one likes taxes. I'm just going to say this right now, guys. Do yourself a favor and go to Gibson Mayer, because guess what? They're going to get you every single dime you're owed by the government. So do yourself a favor, be ready, be prepared, and call Gibson Mayer. This is the Hockey Happy Hour on A2DRadio.com. If you joined us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, we thank you for joining us, but do not fret. You can catch the second half of the show. There will be links in the comments. Click on that, and you can catch us for the rest of it on YouTube. If you're YouTube, don't go anywhere. We will be right back right after this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting edition of WCW Monday Nitro. No, anyway, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome to.
Wait, did he really just say Monday Night Nitro?
This literally sounds like the Nitro theme song, or at least it sounds something like they would play back in the dying days of WCW. But anyway,
It's Thursday night. It's not even Monday.
who cares?
All
All right. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hockey Happy Hour. We are live from the Real Talk Studios here in Mount Ephraim, New Jersey. Matt Studi, the Penguin Lover, Michael Klankov, and the Darkwing Brian Daly, all grooving out over there. Behind the board is Mr. Ryan Brodo, our sign guy, doing what he does best right now. And we are brought to you by Sports Outlet. For all your sporting needs, located at 703 Blackhorse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give a call at 856-939-2030. Email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com.
Woo!
That could be archived.
That's fine.
Best of the week.
Best of the week.
I like it.
It's gonna be Maddie doing an on-air read and just two people dancing.
That should be like a YouTube thing or like a Vine that we do if they still do Vines and just have freaking.
Is that a thing?
I don't think it is
Yeah,
anymore.
Sound like an
but
old man. Is
still.
that a thing? Divine, is that a thing?
Because it was like one of those trending things for 5 minutes, like everything else is, and then boom, just off the face of the earth. No one talks about it anymore.
It's a shame.
Which is fine.
It is. They were
I'm good with
awesome.
that.
Good
Such
times.
a shame.
But
TBT.
anyway,
TBT indeed.
with that being
Since when we got about 40 minutes left of Thursday, we might as well get the last TBT. And,
We're gonna,
all right, so
well, for that, I'm taking this.
hey,
it's like liar
For
liar.
all you know, I was going to be bringing it to you.
Okay, then yes.
it's like liar.
Psych.
It's like liar liar. I'm taking this.
I love that
you can
movie. I
leave
haven't
it
seen
right in
that
the
movie
middle.
forever.
That's fine.
No, more towards me.
No, more towards me.
All right. So
You're the one that's all bundled up.
cue the music for the scores, okay?
Yes, it is time to get into the scores.
There we go.
Go ahead, Mike.
As we know, the Flyers beat the Boston Bruins in overtime tonight. Travis Samheim had the game-winning goal on the
Nice.
power play.
Nice.
Another goal by Oscar Lindblom and Claude Giroux with his 15th of the year.
Nice.
And we had the Rangers.
Trade him.
He only has 15
just
goals.
kidding.
That's half of what Pasternak has right now. And he scored his 30th tonight against
Yeah,
the
but
Flyers.
you know what? Claude Giroux is still going to finish for more points than Pasternak.
Probably. Mika
Still love the kid,
Zibanejad had a 4-point night for the Rangers as they won 4-3 against the Devils. He put up a hat trick in that game.
I love him. I was hoping that Anaheim would have gotten him
Boy,
at the trade deadline a couple
somewhere
years ago.
Dean is pissed at that.
Yes, and I love it. Because he was talking shit when the Penguins lost to the Devils, and it's something that's just always happened anyway. So I mean, it's
He's
nothing
always
new.
going to talk shit, man.
I mean, I took a picture of where the standings were. So,
Speaking of, I'll bring them up.
Winnipeg Jets come back to beat the Columbus Blue Jackets 4-3. They scored 2 goals in the third period. Late goal by Kyle O'Connor with his 22nd of the year with just 1:20 left in the game. So. Yeah, so that's all the games. There's not many of them tonight. Very quick, short and easy. But let's see what's on the slate for Friday. Yeah, we got like 8 games tomorrow. So
Well, it's
Got a
too bad
bunch.
we won't be bringing those
no,
off,
we won't be
but
bringing them
anyway.
in. But yeah, no games by any of our teams. So
Well,
actually, I lied. The
climbed
Flyers
into
or
sixth.
Penguins play the Senators. So
Yeah, we don't play till Saturday. But anyway.
With the Flyers win tonight, that climbs them into 6th place in the wild
nice.
card.
Climbing up the
Yeah.
ladder.
they're still, I think, 9 out behind the Canadians.
They are behind, actually 9 behind Columbus.
Columbus, okay.
Because Columbus lost today. So.
Yeah.
I don't know if they updated Columbus's game yet. They should have by now.
I'm pretty sure they have. Yeah.
But as of right now, they're sitting in 6th in the wild card.
Yep.
Only
Telling
9
you,
points
this
out.
team's going to make a push. They finally got themselves a goaltender, and the team wants to
They're
actually
playing
play
in front
for
of
him.
them.
They're
They're
playing,
playing
for
well
him.
in
They're
front of
playing
them.
for him.
Again,
That's what it is.
if we are on the bubble and we miss by just 1 or 2 points or limits by the end of the season, then still you could chalk that up as saying that's still pretty damn
Yeah.
good considering the fact we had one of the worst first halves
Yep.
that any NHL team has ever had.
I
in
can tell you
recent years.
if I'm playing on a team, I'm not playing for McKenna. So Just saying. I'd be like, who the fuck is this guy?
To be fair, that was a Band-Aid over cancer. So moving on.
Yeah, McKenna was he was a filler because they needed goalies. 'cause
An
they were
actual
all hurt.
Who are
goalie,
you?
yeah.
I'm 35 years old. I've been in the league for 14 years. Who?
I'm McKenna. Hi. Who? Wait, we claimed you?
Who?
Yes.
What am I, fucking Al?
Who?
Either that,
Who?
either that, or be like, "Hey, man, you're still employed after 14 years of irrelevancy. Good for you,
Yeah.
man.
I forget
Good
what it was,
for
but it's
you.
I don't know. The guy's only played like 30 career games.
Good God.
Yeah.
At 35, I mean, it's pretty rough.
14 years and only 30 total games
It was
in the
it was something
NHL.
bad like that.
Good God Almighty.
Not much has really changed in the standings here as I'm looking at the Eastern Conference. Tampa Bay still in first.
And they lost to the Penguins last night. Woo!
Toronto's still in second. Boston still in third.
Redemption game after getting your ass beat by the Devils. You lose to the worst team in the conference and beat the best team in the conference. Can you please explain that?
I can't.
Somebody.
Well,
What sense does it make?
all I can say is I feel your pain.
At
'cause
least
the
you can
Flyers
beat
do,
somebody.
Yeah, but here's
Listen.
the thing. I feel your pain. The Flyers do the exact same fucking thing.
It doesn't. It's a Pennsylvania thing, I guess.
It
It
must
just doesn't
be.
make sense.
It doesn't add
It
up.
honestly does not make sense because it happens all the time. The Devils score 6 goals on us. Tampa Bay scores 2. It's like, what? I mean, come on. I mean, Tampa Bay one of their goals ended up being a power play in the third period. But I mean, it's like that team is 30% on a power play, and they killed every other one. I think they had 4 or 5 power plays last night. So I mean, that's what it came down to. I mean, Murray the first 2 periods was excellent. I mean, watching the game, and he was standing on his head, made some crazy ass saves right in the beginning of the second period, and just held strong. And obviously let a few creep in, but. When you're facing 30-some shots a night, I think it's okay to let in 2.
Well, if it's anything like my NHL season, I'm letting up 50, 60, 70 shots a game. And I'm still losing.
Yeah.
But I'm only giving up like 2 goals, so
Nice.
that's called defense. But anyway,
That's called goaltending.
jumping to the Flyers tonight, man. Like I got to see the first 2 periods before having to head over here.
Mhm.
That first period, they were sloppy as shit.
Mm.
It was terrible. They couldn't complete any passes. They were just letting pucks slip on by, playing a little bit of lazy hockey. They looked a little tired actually coming out. And Boston jumped on them on the power play early with a goal by Pasternak, which was a beautiful passing play, by the way.
Not only that, too, you're in a tough building. You got to go play in Boston.
TD,
That is
yeah,
not a
that's
fun
not a
place
fun
to
building
play.
to
That,
play.
like I said, anytime I ever face the Bruins in the playoffs, I dread it. I don't want to face the Bruins in the playoffs. It's terrible.
No, I remember that.
The
Eastern
best play.
Conference Finals.
Yeah.
Not good.
The best play of the first period led to it was actually the best pass of the first period led to Claude Giroux's breakaway goal, which I believe I can't remember which side. I think it was glove side. He went gloves about middle glove side on Tuukka Rask, got it by him, which was a really nice
I think
shot,
it was
by the way.
Rask's first game back from concussion injury, I believe.
Yep.
So
And second period, they came out played a little bit better. They controlled the puck a little bit more. Got into Boston zone several times. Not as many opportunities.
yeah.
But they played better. They played a little bit more controlled. They, had some hits. Chris Wagner had a really nice hit on Sean Couturier. I don't know if anybody saw that.
Nah,
It was
I didn't get
beautiful.
to catch any of the game tonight, but
Beautiful. Put his shoulder right in the
Yeah.
middle of his chest and just exploded through him.
Mm.
Beautiful hit. I miss him.
We don't highlight Bruins highlights. Anyway, moving on.
It was beautiful.
Pasternak. No,
I
I'm kidding.
miss Wagner. So the second goal that Boston
Bobby
scored,
Wagner?
Chris Wagner.
I'm
that
looking
was
for a middle
football thing.
linebacker. Sorry.
I thought you were going to say Billy. But anyway.
So the second goal that Boston went up scoring was off a deflection off of a shot by Patrice Bergeron, which I didn't think even got deflected at first. I thought it was a nice little, roller that just got through that Carter did get a piece of.
Weasel.
Who?
Brad Marchand.
Who even brought him up?
I thought you said Marchand.
No, Patrice Bergeron.
Oh. Well, anyway.
The other
it's still-
Frenchman.
It's still,
Anyway.
Right. Apples.
He's still on that
oranges.
same line.
But-
I mean, they're both the same.
It's late, okay?
But yeah, it's later than we're used to.
It's Yeah.
No.
It's all right. They're both French
Oh.
names. It's okay to get them confused from time to time. No one cares. Anyway, moving on.
Bonjour, fuck hell.
Hakuna Matata, bitches. You've made me spill my macchiato.
I mean, that's on the best of the week.
Just cut in us dancing and then end it with bonjour.
There you go.
Bonjour, the fucker.
French comments mixed in with some dancing. Boy, this is going to be one interesting best of the week
Yeah,
on A2D.
absolutely.
I can't wait.
And then, the second pass on that goal was a beautiful tip in that he barely got. He just got it to spin the right way. The puck just hit the ice and just rolled back. And I didn't see the
Nice little backspin, huh?
Oh, my God, dude, he got so lucky on it. I don't understand how he wound up getting.
Freeze. Everybody clap your hands. Okay.
Okay, now on that note, I'm officially done.
Come on, guys.
I'm not. I'm laughing. This guy is over here just
Jesus.
like,
I
he's
can't
just like,
deal with this.
Bri-
It's too
Bri-
late for this shit.
Brian's just like, goddamn it, I'm trying to talk about hockey here, and you're talking about fucking French
Fuck.
people and fucking
Jesus
clapping
Christ.
hands and shit like that. Fuck this. Like, seriously, I can't take this shit no more. I just wanted to come here and talk about the fucking Flyers and the goddamn Anaheim Ducks. That's all I wanted to talk about. And I didn't want to talk about the Penguins because fuck the Penguins. Damn, man. Why can't you just let me have the dream? That's all I fucking wanted.
The weather that we're having, Penguins would actually be able to survive in the wilderness right now.
That is true.
Yeah, it's like 5 degrees.
Yeah.
There's a good time when you don't actually have a definition of your team, so that way it's like, hey, who knows? Maybe we would have survived.
I'm sorry, I lied. It is 13 degrees.
Oh,
I really shouldn't complain. It could be a lot worse than that.
I mean,
We could be up in Winnipeg right now where it's minus 50.
but I mean, we're also in double digits, unlike last night where we were at 8. So, you know.
Very true. We're very fortunate. Very fortunate tonight.
Probably the only people in the world who would say 13 degrees is fortunate.
Yeah.
It's actually 18 in Manitoba.
Holy shit, so they're actually doing better in the degrees than we are?
Degrees?
Sea Isle
Fuck them.
degrees. Apparently, it's light snow outside.
Interesting.
Here or in Winnipeg?
I hope
And here,
not.
right now.
Oh, in this building.
And
Oh,
right here.
Oh, okay, in the studio.
No.
Then that explains why this shit's coming down from the ceiling. Okay.
Yeah.
That explains everything.
That's what my phone says.
I hope not.
Oh, good. Fun.
Just back me up.
Oh, no.
Yes, it says light snow.
Can you see it from here?
I see it.
Rest in peace, the vehicles of A2D Radio.
Oh, my goodness. I think I just broke Ryan's heart. Ryan, I'm so sorry.
Look at what you did. Sign guy came here, wasn't bothering nobody, and you go and do that.
What the hell's wrong with you?
Goes and
I don't
produces
know. I'm
your
sorry.
show. Produces the show and everything.
All right, so let's get back to hockey.
So now you wanna get back to
You guys are so
hockey.
distracted tonight.
No, we
I was
aren't.
the one trying to fucking take care of the hockey game.
Well,
and you
no-
were all about, everybody clap your hands.
And bonjour, motherfucker. Anyway, but what,
Bonjour, bitches.
yeah, but what I'm saying is like, but also, by the way, where the fuck are you talking about? That whole last segment, were you not fucking here? Were you just off somewhere else? We talked about hockey for how fucking long? We literally that whole first portion of the goddamn show, we talked
No.
about nothing but hockey.
Did we?
Yes, we talked about fucking hockey and trades and shit, and you were just, what were you doing? You just sitting there, just.
I don't think I
want to
know what he was doing.
I was gonna.
Uh-oh. I'm under fire right now.
Is it Slim Biscuit?
Bring the motherfucking chainsaw. Anyway.
Oh, man. All right, partner. Keep on rolling, baby.
You know what time it is. All right.
All right, that's seriously enough of that.
Yeah, I've run out of music.
It's all right. We could have played the Undertaker theme, and maybe things would have settled down. All right, moving on.
Oh, we got some comments here on YouTube.
Oh, okay then. Read them off.
Pove!
What's up, Pope?
What's your guys' take on Pierre Maguire
Mm.
mansplaining hockey to Kendall
Oh,
Cone?
I think that's when he grabbed her hips and
little
spun
man-
her around a little bit.
Oh,
Looked
totally hamming it up.
Yeah.
Totally hamming it up.
Yeah.
And then watching 3D Mighty Ducks right now. That's David Roscoe.
Don't forget about O.J. Simpson versus people.
Anthony Gloves Project Sorgo Awesome Gymnastics says NBA is boring. I agree. 14-second
Okay.
shot clock makes a a worthless game when all the NBA players get injured. I'm sorry, I can't. That's got to be.
Here, can
Get out!
Here, let me see.
No, you don't touch my
Get
stuff.
out!
I wanted to read it so that way you didn't look like so much of a
Waspless
fool,
is
but
what
I
it
guess
looks
I can't
like.
help that.
Waspless, wasteless. That's it.
Wasteless.
Make a wasteless game. W-O-S-T less. It's supposed to. I think it's supposed to be wasteless.
I think so.
I think so.
True. It's like
Heard.
Okay,
this damn kid.
so we have it.
Who lets me read comments? Like seriously, whose idea was it to give me this job?
Nobody.
Nobody.
You
You just took
volunteered.
it on, yeah.
Actually, that's not true. Pove gave me this job.
That is true. Pove did do it, but you
Rob, we miss you.
we do.
Well, I do. I don't
We
know about
all
these two.
we
course we
all
do.
miss Rob. What are you talking about? Jesus.
We need him back.
Yeah, it would be nice if he would be back. Can we make that happen?
No.
Damn, we can't start a petition to bring Pove back because I
See,
would
and they
I
so
will.
start
I'll
that
do it.
petition.
They
I'll take care of
blamed
it.
me.
All right, cool. Get all the legal shit out of the way, and then we'll take care of that.
Yep.
Brodo will be our first signer.
My cousin Vinny, he's a lawyer.
Oh, perfect.
Mhm.
We got it all taken care of. He'll also get you off murder charges.
Apparently.
Yeah, apparently. And he's apparently about to marry Melissa Tomei. So, you know, or Marissa Tomei.
Marissa Tomei.
Marissa. I don't know why I always get her. I always say Melissa instead of Marissa. I don't
I
fucking
love
know.
her, especially in that movie. What is going on? What are you two doing?
Oh, I was just waiting for you guys to get done so we can talk about hockey.
Oh!
Okay, Mister.
Oh,
funny,
okay.
funny,
Oh,
how funny how
all
it
right.
works. Oh, guys,
Yeah,
okay.
funny guy.
Again, same guy who wasn't here for the first half, and we did did nothing but talk hockey. But anyway.
This guy. All right, what do you want to talk about?
Well, there's 3 minutes left, so.
Let's then talk. Give us a topic,
Ah, man.
Mister.
I
I
don't
want
know.
to talk hockey
I'm
after
just-
trying to do the fucking cha-cha slide.
Stupid can you be?
I didn't expect that.
The great Noah
That
Eaton
might be-
soundboard. Oh God, we actually do need to make that an app. We need to make the Noah Eaton soundboard. That's what we need to do. Sell
shit,
that
that hurt.
shit. Holy shit, we'd be billionaires on that one.
I sat here and I waited
Yes, you did.
for the proper moment.
He bided his time.
Oh my
and it
God, my
came.
stomach hurts.
All
I
right,
can't
so-
deal with this.
Oh, man.
Go ahead. What do you want to talk about?
No, I was just going to talk more in depth in the trade and just see what, from an outside point
All
of
right,
view.
well,
Where do you think the Penguins should do for the trade deadline? If they need
Nothing.
To
They're
do
gonna make
anything?
the playoffs.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that their team just, rides in like where
I
they're
kind of
at.
see Phil Kessel getting traded.
Is
at
it
the
Phil, you
deadline.
think it's going to be Phil Kessel? I don't think Phil Kessel moves. I think if anybody moves, maybe Derek Brassard.
I don't know. I think they're trying to get rid of his contract because he's got a pretty hefty contract, and there's going to be another
Well, I
team
mean,
who's on the
there's-
outside battling
Yeah.
that could really use Phil Kessel.
Yeah. If you move him, I think you move him out west, so you don't have to potentially play him in the playoffs. But that's a guy that's got almost 20 goals this year. That's kind of hard to give up. But in the sense of what you could get in return is tremendous.
Right.
I could
So,
see him going to a place like Colorado
Yeah.
or to a place
maybe
that has a lot
Colorado, maybe even maybe a San Jose who needs that
Yeah,
extra push.
something like
Vegas.
that.
That'd be
yeah.
scary.
Yeah,
Vegas.
one of those teams I
Yeah.
think could probably take him. Real quick, Scott Gordon, your
yeah.
your opinion. Do you think that he is interim, or do you think he's earned the right to be permanent on this Flyers
He
team?
has earned the right to be here, and this is the one thing that I said right before we were trying to choose which coach would be here, and he was a goalie. I mean, and this is what they struggled most with is finding their goaltender, and I think they found it, and I think he's the reason why goaltending has been an upside since he's been here. So I would say that he's a good fit for them, and we'll just see what happens. I mean, he's riding a 6-game win streak, and we'll see where it is at the end of the season, but I think this team may come back and be a playoff contender. So.
He's definitely going to be considered for the head coaching position next year. He's definitely got his name thrown in the hat for the way that he's kind of started to turn his team around. The team's playing for him. They're playing for Carter. You definitely got to see what you got with Alain Vigneault, who's still available if he wants to coach. Joel Quinville, if he wants to come back and coach next year. So you have your options, and I think he's definitely going to be a part of a decision.
Do you think that maybe the Flyers keep him if they do go get another coach as a assistant coach for a possible eventual becoming head?
If they bring in another head coach, I think they send him back to the Phantoms.
All right,
I think he stays with the organization, but he goes back down.
Yeah.
All right. So, with that being said, it is time for us to send this one on home. It is time for last call, folks. I know, but all good things got to come to an end at some point. Like not talking hockey in the second half and then talking nothing but hockey in the first half with this guy forgetting. With that being
He was
said,
too busy doing a cha-cha
He's
slide.
like CNN over here. He's all fake news.
I thought that was Fox.
I thought that was Fox.
Nah. Don't
It's
get me
all
started.
fake.
Oh, so you're a Trump supporter. Oh, we found out a lot about Mikey today.
Ay,
All right,
caramba.
then. Mikey over here, the conservative man, bringing in Trump to the White House. With that being said, oh, well, we were going to get to bed.
Uh-oh. That's the best way to end it out. All right, Maddie, close
All
it
right,
out.
so with that, folks, that'll do it for this edition of the Hockey Happy Hour, brought to you by Gibson Mare LLC, as well as Scanzano Sports Center and Specialized Physical Therapy. And you can give them a call at Scanzano Sports Center at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. This is the Hockey Happy Hour. We thank you all for joining us. We will be back next Thursday to talk more Philadelphia Flyers. Hopefully they can keep this win streak going, and we'll talk more about the future trade possibilities next week. But I'm Matt Tsutsudi. This is the Penguin-loving Michael Klankoff. That's the Darkwing Brian Daly. Behind the board with the beds all the time is the sign guy, Mr. Ryan Brodo. We will see you all next week right here on A2DRadio.com. Bye, everyone.
Bye.